So here's what happened on the joint club regatta. I'm trying to get my shadow out of there. I'm sorry I'm having to improvise. Shoot. With I don't know what happened to my old black photography paper, but anyway, the main line here let go. It broke. I'm trying to grab it and do this at the same time, which is tied into the main line that comes out of the pulley that goes into the hull and is attached to the servo. Alright, this line, this long line here, see if I can grab it up here. This line here feeds the jib. It goes up under there between the I don't know if you can see that moving or not. So I didn't lose my jib. Turn over. I lost my main sheet line, which was tied to it back here. It's tied to the main line. It broke. It goes up through here through a soil snap for disconnect, and it goes through a bowsy here, and through a factory Kyosho fitting here to allow the travel adjustment for how much the boom is, either in or out. I don't know if you're gonna get that or not. That allows for how much travel. Okay. So what happened was this line broke and I had no control over the main. And so it got blowed up against the rocks, and I had to nurse it back to dock so I could get it out. Anyway, this was my field repair. Try to get this in some light. I'm going to show you what the string was made of, because it's just all I had in my backpack. I know it's sloppy looking knots, but I didn't want to miss too many races for a timeout. Trying to get that on there. I didn't actually lose that much line, but that's the amount of line I had to cut and tie it so I have something to tie it back to. And I just used a length of line, and then I went back through here and I made the proper adjustment. Once it was tied in, I made the proper adjustment here at the bowsy. I know this is difficult to see. Obviously I had it marked in red from where I normally like it, but because I added some string to it to make the knots and tie it in, I had to allow for that. And then now, I'm sorry about the black background. I'm going to try to pull this out to show you. That knot does catch a little bit on the centering ring. This one does not at the pulley. So, I mean, it was temporary to get me back into a couple more races. This line is braided stuff. It's like 60 or 80 pound fishing line leader. And how it broke, I don't know. This stuff here, that I replaced it with. I'm going to show you that here very, very shortly. So anyway, follow with me. And yes, again, the jib line was not affected, but I could not sail it effectively to get it back to port, with the main being flapping both ways, port and starboard. She ended up on the rocks, but she was salvaged, and this was a quick field repair with just whatever I had. And I'm going to show you what it was that I had. In my bag, I had taken one of these little things I'd gotten from my brother's job that we used to use. This is actually a sign hanging piece of equipment that you hang coroplast signs from. And it snaps on, and it's adjustable, obviously, for the grooves and the slots and everything. And it has a keeper on the bottom of it, a metal keeper that's crimped on. It has slots like this, and actually this was the one I cut. It has slots on this that where when you go to hang this piece of hardware in the location on in a store on a ceiling grid, it clips in. You put it like that on a ceiling grid, it twists like that, it locks in. And then you adjust the height of the sign via windings and the keepers there. There's keepers here, and then you run the thread back through the hole. That's what that is. And I had this one designated for my measurements, for my field measurements. So luckily I just had that in my pack. And I had them Sharpie marked, but they're not there now because they cut them away. I like to use Sharpie on my lines for my measurements. And they usually stay on there no matter what kind of water, no matter what kind of weather. They usually stay on there. So anyway, I usually run that out. But that's what line I used. I don't know what the strength of it is. Good enough to hold signs. Of course, I cut the keeper off the other one. Normally what I would do was I would in my measurements I would put the keeper up there on the mast, and I'd run it down to the bow. And this is for my mast rake, how much my mast needs to be raked depending on wind conditions. And I would run it down to the bow and have it marked, say 10 miles an hour, 10 knots an hour, whatever you're familiar with. That's where I marked it at. And then for lighter wind, I'd have a green mark for that. I'd have a blue mark for something even lighter. But anyway, that's what I used. That's what I had in my pack. Improvisational engineering. Captain Hacks signing out. It worked. And this stuff, like I said, I don't know if I can get a close-up of this or not. Let me see if I can get some light on it. I don't know if this stuff is, it is braided and it is designed to hold, signs, keep from falling on customers. Because obviously in any store, there's always going to be a kid that wants to jump up and tag the sign. Why is that happening? Oh boy. I don't know what that's at. What that's about. And this light is way too bright. There's always going to be a kid that wants to jump up and tag the sign, pretending he's a basketball star or ninja or something. So that I'm sure they designed the string to hold, excuse me, fairly well. Anyway, that was my field repair for the R3 Joint Regatta, first R3 Joint Regatta of 2019. More to follow. Captain Hacks saying, see ya at the lake.